Hello all, welcome back to the 5-Minute Tech channel. Today we'll be talking about the second part of this Angular journey which we have embarked upon. Today we'll be talking about the components, Angular components in detail, and how we can create a component and make it a part of an Angular application. So this is the focus area we'll be doing today, is the Angular component. We already completed the setup. If you haven't seen the last video, please go back and have a look at the setup video wherein you can set up an Angular application, startup files, and then come back to this video wherein you can create a new component. So what is a component? Component is basically the main building block of Angular, and each component has an HTML file or a template defined. It is a TypeScript class, and it also defines the CSS selector that defines how the component is used in the template. So moving on, what is a component made up of? The basic components, basic parts of the component. Angular component is a template, and then we define a class. A class itself has its own properties and methods like any other object-oriented programming you would have defined. The models and then the functions inside it. So that is what there in the classes, the component class. And then we define the metadata. The metadata is the extra information which Angular needs for it to process it as a component class. And the template basically is just the view layout in terms of HTML and also what all bindings and directives we are using. So in the below image you can see we have defined a component which is having a selector as app root, and its template URL is a separate file which is an HTML file, and then we have a style URL which is defined as a CSS. Also we have this class, the app component class, which has a property called title, and we have given a value to it. So how do we define a component metadata, which is the basic area how Angular reads the component, is through a component decorator. Mark that we do not have a semicolon at the end of the component declaration, because that's how the Angular understands that a supporting class, which is this defined below, is a component class. Secondly, we also have defined for a directive name for HTML, and also we have the URL for the template wherein the HTML tags are defined, and also we have the style URL, the CSS file where you have defined all the styles for that HTML. Moving on, so we'll be creating a sample component, and we will be doing it through Angular CLI. Again, the CLI installation is there in the previous video, so you can refer that. From here on to the Visual Studio Code. So this is the basic application which we created the last time when we were talking about the basic setup. So I'll go ahead and run the command ng-gc and the component which will be user page. So we'll be creating a user page. G means the generate, C is for component, and what component we are creating, this is the user. So after writing this, we'll click. So the Angular component creation for user is done, and now we can go ahead and check what all has been created. So a user component CSS class file has been created, an HTML file which just says user works. We have a spec TS, which is a test case which we'll talk about later in our journey, and we have the main component class which we were talking about right now. So that has a selector which is app user. We have a template URL, and we have the style. So these two files are also created along with it, and we have the class which is the user component class. It has a method, and it can also have different properties inside it. So this is all about creating a component. We'll go ahead and hook it up to the application and see how it works. So we'll go to the app routing module, and we'll add a route. We'll put it user, as we have created user component, and then we will go ahead and run the application. So we have run the application successfully, and as you see, we have added a new component called user component. So we'll go ahead and launch this URL in our browser. So you will be able to see that the user works also is displayed along with the app component details. So if you come back here, you should be able to see that user works is what we have added along with whatever was there in the app component. So that's pretty much about how to create a Angular component. In our next video, we'll be talking about templates, interpolation, and directives, and how it works with the Angular components. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please press like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.